Hey, I'm Lauren Schaefer, a developer advocate for MongoDB. In this video series, I've used MongoDB Stitch to implement a very basic blogging application that allows users to add comments to a blog post. I've also used Stitch to host my app. Now that my blog is up and running, I want to make sure that I get email notifications as soon as someone comments on my blog. I'm going to do a little configuring and implement this in just 35 lines of code. Before I start, let's take a look at the architecture diagram. I'll start with Stitch services. Today, I'm going to create an AWS service. I'll configure a rule for the service that allows the Stitch app to use the AWS Simple Email Service, or SES, API. The Stitch service will interact with a third-party AWS service to send email. Next, I'm going to use Stitch values. Values are constants that you can reference from a rule, webhook, or function. I'll create values for the email addresses I will use. Next, I'll use Stitch functions. Stitch functions allow you to define and execute server-side logic for your application. Functions are written in JavaScript and execute in a serverless manner. I'll write a send email function that uses the SES service. Finally, I'll use Stitch triggers. Stitch triggers enable you to process and react to events in your application as they occur. I'll create a trigger named send email on new comment that will call my send email function whenever a new document is inserted into the comments collection. If that was a little fuzzy to you, don't worry. Hopefully it will become more clear as you see me implement it. So let's get started by creating a Stitch service. Stitch has several built-in services, as you can see here. There is a Twilio service, so you can do things like send text messages. There is an HTTP service, so you can communicate with any service that is available over HTTP, such as those that provide a REST API. There is a GitHub service, so you can respond to GitHub events like pull requests. And today, we're going to create an AWS service. More specifically, we're going to use the AWS Simple Email Service. This service will send the emails for us. We just have to tell it what to send. So to begin, I'm going to add an AWS service to my Stitch app. I'll name this service AWS. The next things I need are the access key ID and the secret access key for my AWS service. I did a little prep work in the AWS console before I started recording. I created the simple email service and verified 2 email addresses that I will use to test sending and receiving an email. I also set up a user account to generate the access keys needed for the service. I'll paste the keys into the Stitch UI now. And I'll click Add Service. A service rule enables and configures the capabilities of an action. In this case, I'll configure the rule so I can use the simple email service. I'm going to name my new rule SES and click Add Rule. Let me select it, and we can see I have some options here on the right. I'll click Add Action. As you can see, I can choose to enable a variety of AWS APIs. I'll select SES. I have the option of choosing which actions are allowed, but I'll allow all actions for now. Throughout the Stitch UI, you'll see these expression boxes. These boxes allow you to define expressions for when the associated action can be executed. This can be incredibly powerful when you want to implement business rules. For simplicity, I'm going to leave this blank, and I'll click Save. For this basic use case, I'm going to use the same to and from email addresses for every notification email. I'm going to store those email addresses in Stitch values. So I'm going to click Values and Secrets in the left navigation pane. I'm going to click Create New Value. I'll create a new value for the email address I'll use as the from email address. I'll name it from email address. The value can be a string, array, or JSON document. In this case, I'll create a string for myfabdemo@gmail.com. I can use this value whenever I want to send an email. Now I'll save that value and go back and add a new one. This time I'll name the value to email address. I'll set the value to myfabdemo2@gmail.com. I'll save this value. Now that we have our service configured and our values created, let's actually use them. I'm going to create a Stitch function. Remember, these functions execute in a serverless way. I'll name this function email about comment. I'm going to leave the defaults for now and click Save. To save you from having to watch me type the entire function, I'm going to paste it in. Check the notes below for a copy of the code. Let's walk through what's happening here. I'm getting a change event as a parameter. A change event contains information about what has changed in the database. I'll pull the full document out of the change event. The full document is the document that was changed in the database. Next, I'll access my AWS service and store it in this SES constant. Next, I'll generate the information needed for the email I want to send. Most of the information in this email is static except for the new comment. For other use cases, you can imagine making this email content much more dynamic based on what you receive as your change event. Finally, I'll send the email using my SES service. The last big piece I need to do is create a trigger. There are 3 types of triggers: database triggers, authentication triggers, and scheduled triggers. Database triggers allow you to execute functions in real time based on changes that happen in your database. We also have authentication triggers. Authentication triggers allow you to execute functions in real time based on authentication events that occur. For example, maybe you have a users collection that stores metadata about all of your users. If you want to ensure that a document exists for each user who authenticates to your app, you could set up an authentication trigger to create a new document whenever someone new authenticates. Finally, we have scheduled triggers. Scheduled triggers execute functions at regular intervals according to a predefined schedule. For example, perhaps you want to send a weekly email every Monday that contains information stored in your database. Today, I'll set up a database trigger that will call the function I just created whenever a new document is inserted into the comments collection. I'm going to name this trigger Send Email on New Comment. Let's update the trigger source details. I'll select my MongoDB Atlas cluster, my blog database, and my comments collection. I want this trigger to fire whenever a new document is inserted into my comments collection, so I'll check the insert box. I'm going to enable full document. I want to receive the full document as part of the change event so I can get the contents of the new comment. Finally, I'm going to select the email about comment function that we just created. This function will be called whenever a new comment is added to the blog post. Let's click Save. So now we get to the nerve-wracking part. It's time to test. So let's add a new comment to our blog and see what happens. Will it send? It looks like our comment was added. Let's go check our email. And hey, I got a new email. It worked. So I can open up this email and I can see, yes, the comment that I just added was included in the body of the email. It worked. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at the logs in the Stitch UI. Here I can see a log entry for my trigger. I can expand the entry and see what was logged. First, we can see the change event, which includes information like the timestamp, the document key, and the full document. I specifically printed the full document so you could see it. Here we have the ID, the comment, and the owner ID. And finally, we can see our confirmation message that the email was sent. Let's take a moment to summarize what I did. I created an AWS service inside of Stitch. I created 2 Stitch values to store the email addresses I will always use for email notifications. I created a function that uses AWS's simple email service to send an email. In this example, I used a trigger to call that function. I could also call that function directly from my client code. I then created a Stitch trigger so that the function would be called whenever a new comment was added to the blog post. Now, my trigger was pretty basic and called the function whenever a new document was inserted. But you can imagine setting up more complex rules for a trigger and function. For example, let's say you have an online store and you want to place an order with a distributor when a particular item's inventory goes below a given threshold. You could use a trigger to quickly implement that. Triggers and functions can be really powerful. The nice thing is they don't require you to write much code, and they allow you to keep your back-end functionality separate from your front-end code. That wraps up today's video on functions and triggers. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll dive into Google authentication.